if like I wasn't a feminist, I don't know what I would be, if that makes sense. Like I don't really have like that's just all I know, I guess. And I guess I haven't really educated
That actually
myself.
makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Feminism is basically the air that we breathe, and it's the water we swim in, whether people know it or not. It's ingratiated in society. So you may not have any other position other than that. So if you say, I really don't know anything besides feminism, I believe you.
Thank you.
It's mainstream. Do you guys believe in the patriarchy?
But it's still a bad position. It's still like what you
Fine.
just saying.
And what is that? So what is the patriarchy?
It's patriarchy's when like men rule, right?
Mostly, right?
Men rule, women drool. Wait, what? Okay, that's
No, that was my fault.
Say it. Can you say the patriarchy is awesome?
it's not bad. It's not bad.
The patriarchy is awesome.
That one is for you, Good One Motorsports.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
That's right. Mature audiences only. So I guess try hard not to, let the kids you don't want to hear this. It's because, sometimes I get rude, I get annoyed, I get whatever. I talk a lot of shit. So coming to you. The day shift is now live. We are going to talk a little bit here and there around the all right, so right out of the gate, we're going to have to address this incel. So I've been called an incel, I think, like 3 or 4 times this week. I'm married with kids. I don't know how that makes me an incel, but I don't get how that's actually an insult. If you're involuntarily celibate, that means you don't have a choice in it. So how are you insulting somebody if you tell them that it's something beyond their control? They don't have any, they're not, it's not like they're trying to be celibate. Yeah, if you say, well, that guy is just, he just doesn't like women, he's voluntarily celibate, that could maybe be an insult. I don't know. But for those of you guys who do not know, because I did not know until this morning, I woke up and to message going about how some guy on Andrew's podcast last night, I guess, called in, and he was kind of going after Andrew for, just being an evil person, I guess. I'm really not sure. Really not sure what the guy's problem actually was. He just seemed like a really angry young man, just really mad. Terrible situation, but I haven't actually heard it yet. I'll listen to it a little later. I haven't actually heard it yet, but I guess he at some point he was talking about the people that like donate to Andrew, and so we're basically all angry incels, and it was just we were throwing money at these people in hate, I guess. And Andrew had my back. He I haven't actually heard it yet, but he kind of checked him on their insanity, and kind of called him on it, which I think it's an interesting thing. We used to call it shining the light on the on the cockroaches, and to watch them scurry because they would just run back to their holes. And it really is that you shine the light of truth on these guys, and they just, they break down, they fall apart. All of their arguments that they have locked down, they've got you on lock. They're going to treat you like you're a redheaded stepchild or a rented mule, and they're just going to beat your ass. And then you start with the facts, man, and they just fall apart. Like they just cave like instantly. It's just so bad. Yeah, I heard that Andrew like really had my back. I can't wait to listen to it. Beaten Cheeks actually called me this morning to tell me about it. I was like, dude, I went to bed early last night. Like I was tired, and I didn't get my midday nap. Us retired people, if we don't get our nap, we're grumpy. and so that's kind of how that worked out. But it was a really interesting conversation with Cheeks this morning about it, because I'm like, where what's with these young men? I mean, are they that wrapped up in trying to be um politically correct? I don't even know if these kids say that these days, or whatever, that you know that they'll just say anything to maybe sound popular, to look good in front of some girls or something. That's the only thing I can come up with, right? Like, I really can't understand why any grown ass man, or even a half ass grown man, would sit there and try and attack somebody else for just for nothing, especially over feminist ideology or anything like that. The only answer I come up with consistently is that dude's just trying to get laid. I mean, is that, does the chat agree? Do we agree that that's the reason that because that was always my experience. When I had a guy that was saying some shit that was just off the fucking wall, that was just loserific and all of that, like 9 times out of 10, it was because they were trying to get laid. They just wanted to look good to girls, and that's I think Andrew talks about, it's kind of like really part of the problem with the country is that women have so much influence on what men do, just because men, you have these men that for whatever reason, they just become kind of terrible people, right? That just go along with whatever women say. Yeah, loserific's a t-shirt, dude. That'd be a cool t-shirt. White knight, yes, they are white knighting, and the sneaky fucker concept, right? Like, you want to go out, you want to just agree with this bunch of stupid girls and maybe shake one loose and take her home. Men don't get this, because a normal man, first of all, he's not playing a con game. Second, he's just not going to put up with that shit anyway, right? And so he's going to attract those women without having to do that, or they're just not women worth being with. So I think it's really interesting. I find it very interesting that men. I always find it interesting when men tell me that they're feminist, and in almost every case they don't have a good argument for it, and generally it's like an egalitarian argument when they do have an argument for it. And I don't know if you guys understand the egalitarian side of those arguments, but it's pretty interesting, right? Like, it's I find that it's it's kind of stupid. I just find it stupid. Yeah. Right, right. The whales, right. So here's the thing, man. Like, first of all, why does it rustle your jimmies how another man spends money, or a woman for that matter? If a woman, donate, and I'm sure there are some that donated to the chat or to the stream and said, "Hey, this is what's going on." Why would you care? That's literally like me caring that you went out and bought a brand new Ford truck, right? Like, I mean, you shouldn't, because Ford sucks, Chevy rules, but friends don't let friends buy Fords, is what I'm saying. But if you did, I just shake my head, and be like, whatever, and then move on, right? And it's just pretty terrible, right? It's pretty terrible. It's really crazy to me that we find ourselves in this situation. It's really interesting to me that we find ourselves in a situation where men undermine men's not right men's kind of authority, male activism, if you will, just to kind of just to get some pussy, man. Honestly, that's all I can think. There's no reason to There's no reason to get too bent out of it. Yeah. Why do you miss your T-Bird? Did it break down? Did it blow up? Did the head gaskets go? Thinking the head gaskets went. Thinking. Let me know in the chat. But yeah. So how's the day shift going for everybody? Everybody out there working, earning money, supporting the government. Millions upon millions of leftist ideologues sitting at home on their couches, eating their Totino's pizza rolls, are counting on you to bring home the bacon so that you can pay more taxes and support their way of life. So that's pretty fucking funny. Cuttlefish. That's pretty fucking funny. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Friends don't let friends buy a High Point. Yeah, I'll go with that. It was super reliable. I actually just drank too much gas. Okay. Interesting. It had to have had like the 5.0 in it. They couldn't have been one of the V6 cars. The V6 cars are terrible. Eight head gaskets left and right. So, and I'm assuming last generation of T-Bird too, the really kind of ugly one, the one that looked like they had taken a Chevy Lumina and widened it, which was terrible. 4.6. Okay. So it was the last iteration of the T-Bird when the ugly one, right? The one that looked like they took a Chevy Lumina and cut it in half and made it wider, which was which was like the Lumina was fucking wide as it was. But anyway, enough talking about horrible, gross, ugly cars. No offense. 97 limited edition. All right. So how's everybody doing? Is everybody working hard out there, supporting the few that won't that are not productive in society? Everybody having a good day at work, sitting around on your keyboards. I have a feeling that a lot of the people who actually tune in during the day, with the exception of Kevin Landers over there, who is, if you don't know, Kevin Landers is the rotary engine guy. He does mostly Renesis motors, which is the 2004 to 2012 Mazda RX-8. He does a lot of those, man. I mean, he's like the guy. He's the guy. And he does he does all of them, really, but he doesn't do 12As. He just does 13Bs. And but he's good. He's good. He's actually one of the few people in the country, I think, that do them right, which is a rare thing. And a friend of mine named Paul Yaw today, he was in the Rotary community for years. Now he owns a company called Injector Dynamics, and he does a lot of really cool shit, man. And he's like a high level guy. Like he really, 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 man. I mean, like shit has to be right when he does shit. So he actually made a post today about how when he started his business, he worked like super hard, like crazy hard, because he was starting a business, right? You have to sacrifice, you give up a lot of time, you just don't have, you got to maintain productivity, or you get for the business to survive, and then you have to find a way to keep the business surviving still. And for him, that meant he could make those gains with his checkbook, right, by hiring more people, buying better equipment, buying larger amounts of stock ahead of time, all that kind of thing, right? So he's doing, he's got it figured out. And what he learned over a course of years is that works as long as you're writing checks to the right people. It's very important to write the checks to the right people. And a lot of people don't. They don't have any idea who they're writing the check to start with. And they live in promised land where, oh yeah, we'll have it next week. Well, that shipment should be there 2 weeks from the day, or, hey, I'll have that overnight for you. But then the phone calls they get are, hey, you know what, next week, yeah, that's not going to happen. It's going to be like first of the month. And then 2 weeks turns into 6 weeks because of customs or some other delay. And I'll get, I'll do that work tonight. Turns into, hey, I had an emergency come up. I'm slammed. I can't get it to you for 3 weeks. and that's kind of, the success of most businesses, most business and most entrepreneurial efforts can easily be measured in the company you keep and how you keep it. Um, and I think that that's really important. So, good old Paul Yaw giving me a heads up on that. Elsewhere in the world news, you guys probably have all eaten at that horrible seafood restaurant. It's called Red Lobster. And you may have noticed that there are fewer and fewer red lobsters out there these days. The reason for that is very interesting financially. It's really boring. I hope I don't bore the hell out of people, but it's really interesting to me because it shows you what happens when companies make terrible decisions and it can really affect their employees. So Red Lobster at one time was a great company. They were mostly buying their seafood out of Canada and the lower like the Gulf, and I want to say like maybe like the upstate New York area, that whole upper eastern seaboard. So, and they were a huge company. They were basically coast to coast. I have no idea how many restaurants, but I want to say it was something like 300 or 400 restaurants. And most of them owned the real estate that the buildings were built on because they built custom buildings so that they all look the same. This is a good business plan. This is a good way to do things. If you're going to do it, this is actually a really, really good way of doing it. So, a decade or so ago, Red Lobster gets sold to a private equity firm, but the private equity, the PE firm could not or did not have the cash to buy the company outright. So what they did is they went to another PE firm. Now it was a holding firm and mostly real estate. And so they said, "Hey, if you come in with us on this deal, we'll sell you the real estate for the money that we're short, as long as and we'll put leaseback agreements in there so that we can continue leasing it so the restaurants operate." So the PE company bought it, right? So the original guys, they made their money. The real estate company, or the company that owned the real estate, now they're leasing back to these restaurants, and everything goes okay for a few years. And then the thing we cannot talk about, COVID, it hit. So COVID hits, all the restrictions, everything, all the restaurants take a hit, right? Just, kind of, just a kick in the nuts. And then even after the restrictions were lifted, they had a lot of trouble with staffing. They had a lot of supply line issues. Now, and part of the supply line issues is that one of the major investors also owns a seafood company. It is an Asian-based company. I don't know if it's Japanese, Chinese, or I want to say it's Chinese, but as soon as I say for sure it's Chinese, it's going to be, it'll be Japanese or wherever, Korean, whatever. But it's an Asian-owned seafood company. That makes sense. They know seafood. They're, it's like 40% of their diet. And they now own, or they own part of the company, and they were supplying a lot of the seafood. They had and then all of a sudden, even now, not only do they have employee shortages, not only do they have issues with staffing, the restaurants don't look so good, they're aging, they're paying a lot in rent every month, whether they're making money or not, because they have lease deals with the PE company that actually owns most of the real estate. And now they're starting to have trouble getting the seafood in and getting good seafood in, right? So a lot of people blame the fall. A lot of stupid analysts blame the fall of Red Lobster on the fact that they ran a promotion, all you can eat shrimp, and they did some lobster stuff too. It was like all you can eat stuff, and just they were trying to get people in the door. A lot of people blame that as the source of destruction, but it's that has nothing to do with it. It was simply that it was a bad decision when the company sold the when they sold the company. They should have made sure that the real estate and the business stayed together, because those lease payments have put such a strain on Red Lobster as a corporate entity that they can't. That's a debt that they just are not going to be able to get out of, and they're just gradually, the stores that are not owned, that do not own their real estate. I think they're all. I don't know if they're closing, but I think they're all reducing down, and maybe going out of business, because there's no money left. They can't make it, and you can't look at it. You can't look at this as an example of, hey, they ran a poor marketing play, or hey, they had poor staffing. It was literally the beginning of the end was the minute they sold the company and split the real estate from the organization. The real estate was the key to the whole thing anyway, because if you own the real estate, you're just paying your property taxes and that's it. And you could stay. I mean, you don't have to have all the business coming in the door. You can survive. I honestly don't think Red Lobster's going to come back now. And there's a lot of chain restaurants in this same boat. Private equity for a while, they really liked restaurants and restaurant chains. And a lot of restaurant chains were bought and sold by PE companies. Some of those did a real good job. Some of them did not. And they have again, they have this, a lot of times what they do is they split the company into the business and then the assets. And the assets is usually the real estate, any kind of vehicles they own, anything like that. And once you do that, you start, you're starting the beginning of the end in most cases. And it's really terrible that they've ended up like that. But it's just a sign, in business, and that's a big company. But in business, if you're a small company, you can learn from that same lesson. If you're out there contracting and stuff, you got to maintain control of the thing that costs you the most. And and we're seeing these restaurant chains go out of business, and then you're seeing other restaurant chains just go absolutely bonkers. I mean, Whataburger, all of these restaurant chains are opening store after store after store. And yeah, they did. They had the live lobsters, and so you could in the little saltwater tank, and you could pick out that guy right there. I'm eating you. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it's interesting, and I don't think people pay attention enough to things like this because they don't think it affects them, but it does affect you, right? The Red Lobster shuts down. Now there are people out of work. It's just a ripple effect through, no matter what you try and do. Once again, I did not turn off my my buzzer, my phone alerts. Sorry, guys. I'm doing the thing that's rude, like super rude. How many of you guys saw the debacle that was the start of last night's show, where I had to go pick my kid up because of the tornado, and had to start the podcast in the car. That was fucking cool, right? That was awesome. And what'd you guys think of Cat last night? Was Cat cool? Did you guys? How many of you guys saw Cat last night? You guys get? I'd really like everybody's opinion on how Cat works out. The at the end of the she can only stay so long, so she's one of those guests that come and go. She's here, she says what she's going to says, and then she goes and takes care of her kids. So yeah. You think Kat's getting more comfortable on the show with the style? Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I think so. I think she has a lot of good things to say. What's up, Fredo? How's it going, buddy? You working hard today? Roman King, you didn't catch Cat. Well, I mean, you can go watch it. It's still live, or it's still in it'll always be on YouTube unless they cancel the crap out of me. But you can go watch it. I think she did. I think she did a great job. I think that she has a really great ability to kind of go back and forth without it seeming like that she's getting angry, or that she's perturbed at all. And she's got a really good discussion style, and she knows pretty much what she's talking about. She is kind of heavily weighted towards the more feminine side, but she doesn't really do the blame men for everything thing. Fredo, I don't watch Fresh and Fit, bro. I don't watch Fresh and Fit. Roman King, yeah, absolutely. She has a level-headed approach, and it seemed, like the first time I had her on, it seemed like I had to kind of pull the information out of her. Like she was just kind of like not. It wasn't that she was like not responsive or anything. It's just like she seemed a little hesitant, a little bit that kind of thing. But I think she's getting used to it. We may have her on a lot more in the future. I know she's trying to build her channel as well. So I think we're gonna, Andrew's helping me. I'm gonna help her. It's it's a thing that happens. Let's see. No, again, Fredo, I don't watch Fresh and Fit. So that was good. John, are you ready for tomorrow evening, brother? You got to get your presentation ready, which hopefully is not like an actual presentation. Hopefully it's not class, but I kind of want we'll direct that pretty good. But for those of you guys who are listening and want to get the lowdown here and get an early tidbit, John has been studying and developing processes of buying and trading and selling precious metals now for a while. And I think he has some really good insights on it. His channel, which I can't pronounce, it's what is it, John? Post that up for me. His channel's really good, and you should go check it out if you're interested in precious metals. I'm not a precious metal guy, but yeah, there it is right there. Department of Numenistics. That's what it is. And it's it's an interesting deal when you have when you pick something to invest in. It kind of becomes all encompassing. And I think that, for a lot of people, they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to take that. They're not willing to take on that burden of just being really, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're not willing to deep dive. You know what I mean? It's just like people with rental properties, they think they want to buy a rental property. They go out and buy one. They realize it's a lot of work and it's a lot of stuff going on, and it's just can be terrible. What's up, Mr. E? How's it going for you today? You doing all right? You get your. That's a pretty good. I mean, I don't know that much about coin and paper money trading. I know that at one point in time it was like massive, but I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how that works anymore. But you should look into that, man. I think that's there's something to that. My title today, by the way, Patriarch Patronage, is a homage to me to the donation discussion last night that I missed because I was asleep. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows, that I am going to watch it, but I do know about it. I think it's funny. I don't understand why. Again, I'll say it again. I don't understand why grown men get their jimmies rustled by the way another grown man chooses to spend his time, money, or interest. I don't get it. So whatever. Yep. Yeah. seem to be. All right. So anybody having any kind of issues today? Anybody going on really big? Anybody want to talk about something that grinds their gears? No, nobody has anything that grinds their gears. Come on, guys, gotta have something. I found it very interesting, the whole tornado thing yesterday. I hadn't experienced one on this side of the fence. It was pretty interesting. And you guys got awful quiet in here. Mr. E comes in and the class gets quiet. Is he the principal or something? Mr. E, are you gonna like hurt people's feelings? Is that what's gonna go on? Not using the clutch. That's interesting. I don't know that I have a fortune, but I've talked about it a lot. I owned a bunch of shops, race. I owned a race team. I did a bunch of stuff. I worked really hard my entire life, and I never took a vacation, never did anything until I got married. Once I got married, we made pretty decent decisions. I mean, there are places where if you look back, it's terrible to look back on your life because you'll go, man, I could have made an extra 100 grand there. Or, oh man, I spent 10 grand. I should just not have spent that. That was dumb as fuck. And, so hard work, basically. I don't have there's no secret at all. If you could choose 3 weapons for the zombie apocalypse, what am I taking? What's in the bag? I have a 14.5 barrel AR platform with Deadfoot Arms brace that makes the whole thing like this big, and it fits in a backpack, but it's still it's pretty accurate. It's not super accurate like out really far, but it's pretty accurate. And with the red dot on it, it's just ridiculous. I'll take my one of my 2011s. I have 23 round mags for those, and I've got like 6 or 7 of them, so I can carry basically 2 boxes of ammo with me at all times, and a 22 rifle or a 22 pistol, either one. Probably 22 pistol with a suppressor. Everything would have suppressors because I believe that if you're going to drop a load, you need to drop it suppressed. Just be kind. Don't let everybody know what's going on. Be polite. Be hearing safe. So those would probably be the 3. I would not take a shotgun. Shotguns are overrated in effectiveness, especially without buckshot. Birdshot. I mean, you can just look at the number of people who get shot hunting, like in the leg or in the back or whatever, with birdshot, and they do not die really. So shotguns, not there. Let's see. No matter. I mean, I always have a knife. I mean, that's rule number 1 is you carry a knife, right? That's rule number 1. Today I have the other than the one on my desk that's just always here. Today I have an SOG. I don't remember what they call this one. I think this is an Aegis. It might be an Aegis AT or something. It's a pretty cool knife. It's not automatic, but it's pretty close. I'm normally an automatic knife guy. I need to be able to open it. Anything I have, I need to open one-handed. There's no way about it. Or fixed blade. I've become a little bit of a fixed blade and aficionado recently. This stays on my desk because it's cool, and fixed blades just don't you don't have to worry about them jamming up or not opening or whatever. You can just, if you need to use them, they're ready to go. Yeah, that's I did say that. Aim point or EOTech. I'm actually I'm a Hollow Sun or I have a bunch of SIG red dots that I like. One of them just crapped out though, so I may have to change my may have to change up. But aim points are good. EOTechs just eat batteries. And I had a bad experience with EOTech, so it's hard to sell me on EOTech. Good old buck knife, heck yeah. Cowboy up. That's what it is. From pop culture aspect, like threatening to walk off 40. That's actually I think that that was there's been a number of male stars that lately that have said no, I'm not playing this game anymore. You guys have to you guys can't be crazy all the time. You have to be less crazy. There's no reason to there's no reason to be part of something that you object to, especially if you can afford not to. Just say fuck it, I'm out of here. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Melissa. Arthrodia. See, I got it right that time. I can say it. I like it. It's funnier when I say I can't say it. Yeah. You got to walk away, man. You got to walk away when it's not right. It's not right. And I mean, didn't they push him out of Witcher because of his take on different things? Somebody answer that. I don't actually know that to be true. What we got here? Aim point pro. Yeah. Stays on. Yeah. Yep. Aim points are awesome. The only thing better than an aim point is the Hollow Sun, which I don't think I've ever put a battery in one. I've had them like 4 or 5 years now because they're they're solar powered. And I use Shake Awake. I know some guys don't like that because they're doing the whole it's gonna fail, and I'm like, you know what else is gonna fail? You're gonna fail. You're not as good as your equipment. Your equipment is only as good as you are. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. That's just that's building in an excuse for when you fail. So don't fail, fucker. Not you personally. Just that's a global fucker. So that's cool. Cool knives are cool. I like a lot. I have a lot of knives. I actually have a thing about knives. Back when it wasn't feeling it. Yeah. Yeah, I think Cavill's one of those good guys, man. Like he was the right guy to play Superman because he's fucking Superman, right? Like is that not right? Cavill was exactly the right guy. He's the exactly right. He had the right temperament. He wasn't he's not woke. He didn't put up with any of their nonsense. He just did what is he just does the right thing. And of course, Hollywood can't stand it. And I'm using Hollywood as again globally, that most of these people aren't even based in Hollywood anymore because they don't want to pay taxes any more than anybody else. But they can't stand it, man. They can't stand him at all. That's funny. Don't fail, fucker. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. If you spend a lot of time out where people do interesting things, you will find out pretty quickly that the guys that complain most about their gear and worry about, it's going to fail or it's going to do, the shake awake's not going to work, or that kind of thing. That's just they're building in an excuse for later. They're just building it in. And I hate that shit. Look, when I fuck up, I fuck up. I fuck up all the time. I fuck up daily. Like you can't even count the number of times I fuck up in a day. It would be useless to do so or to attempt to do so. So, why bother? Just roll with it. Life sucks. Wear a fucking helmet. But beyond that, don't fail. Practice. Do your drills. Like I'm going to be like, this is no bullshit at all. I was shooting a match one time, and I hadn't noticed that my red dot on my pistol had come loose. Like the Loctite was no longer Loctiting, and it literally came off in the middle of the stage. Like the red dot departed the slide of my pistol. I had no sights on the gun. I shot the entire. I didn't even hesitate. Didn't stop anything. My index is good enough that I was able to alpha out the entire rest of the stage, and I didn't even slow me down that much, just because I've developed a good index. Because if you're going to dress like a gunslinger and you're going to act like a gunslinger, you need to be a gunslinger. Like don't fuck around and just dress the part. This isn't, you're not LARPing with that shit. I mean, you can, but if you're going to LARP about it, don't bitch about your equipment, because your equipment is not the problem. You are always the problem. We got here, the studios need to take after HBO and faithfully adapt. Yeah. I mean, you can't do anything about these studios, man. I stay fucking up. Yeah, that's right. Me too, man. That's funny. What we got here? On a lot of TV. I mean, Atlanta's like was a hotbed of it. Now, of course, it's gone so woke as well. I don't know that they're not moving back out of Atlanta. The unfortunate part is there seem to be a lot of it moving to Nashville, which I can't say that I support. Vancouver's perfect for them. So, there you go. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, look, obviously things fail. You just have to learn to work around it. But like, not using a piece of equipment because you think there's like one in a 1,000 chance that it'll fail is just building in an excuse. I have a friend of mine. He's an ex-Marine, and he was actually a product testing guy at Magpul. That's why he did product development. So he spent like days on the range, firing full auto with just mag after mag after mag, or drum after drum after drum, looking for failure points, right? Like, this is his job, which is a fucking great job. And then he had to write up a report about why it failed or why it succeeded, all that kind of stuff. Super cool guy, had a great job. Like him. He's a really good dude. I need to call him, actually. So we're sitting there talking one day, and there was a couple of things. First of all, the Mag D60, I was like, hey man, should I buy one of these? They're like 120 bucks, or at the time I think they were like 110 bucks. And he's like, absolutely. He's like, I hate drums. I think they're garbage, but they actually absolutely worked. Like, they absolutely work. I would go into combat with it. And that was his measure, right? Like, his measure was not, it worked 100 times in a row, or it worked 1,000 times without malfunctioning, or worked 7,000 times without malfunctioning. That was a metric. But his real like qualifier was, would I carry this into combat? And his answer on the drum is, yeah, absolutely you would. And so I've actually I've put that to the test quite a bit, actually. And I will 100%. The Magpul drum works. Yeah, so Magpul stuff's great, and I love those guys. It's too bad they forced them out of Colorado, because they were like right down the fucking street, but it's all right. When I was out there. And then John's other thing was like with other equipment, right? Like, and so we were talking about, he had a I'm not going to mention, he had a red dot fail. I'm not going to say which one, because that, probably fucking sue my ass, but he had a red dot fail. So he got another one, and the other one was a different brand, and it was kind of like, in his mind, it wasn't expensive enough in hit, because he's like, well, because he's comparing it to this other one. And I say this. So one of the things that he was looking for is that you have to be able to, if you're going to swim with it, that the water doesn't get in the battery compartment and short it out and turn it off, right? Because that's what, it's typically they have a shorting feature, anti-short feature built into it, so that if it detects water it just basically disengages the battery to protect the red dot so that when it dries out, it still works. But in the meantime, you don't have a red dot. It doesn't come on. I know this is like really boring, everybody, but this is really cool shit to me. So he tests this other one, and in like really horrible conditions. And finally he came to me. He's like, I'd swim with it. Like I could see myself coming up out of the surf with this thing. And that's actually become my test for guns that, when I do the grip stippling, or if I do carbiding or anything else, like I carbide, a lot of my grips, because I actually really like a rough, aggressive grip, because I'm running, I'm maneuvering. I don't, um, I'm not shooting a USPSA match where I'm just standing in one place and shooting like 10 targets and then run 3 steps and shoot 10 more and move on. I'm like, the sport that I shoot, I'm like, I could trip and fall. I'm running over things. I'm climbing over things. And so that's my test when I like carbide a gun, or if I am doing something other, if I don't really stipple anymore, I almost always carbide the grips. Sometimes I use skater tape if I have to, but my test is if I feel like I could come up out of the surf with that gun still in my hand. Like if I'm swimming with this stupid thing and I got to come up out of the surf, is it going to get ripped out of my hand because the plastic's all slick and the grip's all wet and that thing goes away? Or is it like the only way that thing's coming out of my hand is removal of skin? And that's what I want, right? Like that's the only way that I do it. And I think that a lot of people just like to buy stuff and have it work. And I used to be that way, but I kind of tweak out everything now. That's the only way that is just part of my nature anyway. But I'm telling you, man, we get, I should put some pictures up on my website or something. You guys got to see some of the carbiding that I do. It's a silicon carbide. It's literally like sandpaper on the grip, but it ends up like epoxied into the grip surface itself. It will never come off, and it will just like, it tears your hands up, but you're not losing it. And when you're going fast, you don't have to worry about your grip gradually loosening or anything like that. You don't have to like give it the Omega grip. You can kind of, keep the proper grip tension on it, and the gun doesn't move around, which is not the case. That's my big problem with the SIG P320 and the X5 Legion is the grips are slick as fuck. Like I hate those things. I mean, it's like whale snot or something. You get like you're 5 shots into a 10-shot string, and you just notice that you're having to readjust your grip as you go. So yeah, that's what's up. I'm sorry, guys. That kind of went off on a tangent there. I'm just I get into it, man. I go down that rabbit hole. Snap in Magpul grips from M-Lock. Yeah. I don't run that kind of stuff. I run a bear. So so on for handguards, I typically run like a GunTech or a Samson, Seekins, something like that. Although there's a new one that I just picked up. It's made here in Tennessee. It's I think it's Cross Machine and Tool or something like that. I'll look it up. I'll go look at the package. And but they're made not too far from me, and they're great. But what I'm looking for in a handguard is I want something really light. I don't really need it to be grippy. But yeah, CMT, yeah. And I don't want it to be particularly grippy, but I need it to be because I'm really that my hand up front is just stabilizing it and moving it. I'm not trying to I don't have a death grip on it. Matter of fact, I don't have a death grip anywhere on the rifle. And now we're speaking specifically about AR platform. And I mean, I can run. I've actually outrun the AR trigger, like the diamond. I think that's why my Trigger Tech Diamond broke, is because I outran it at a match, and I broke it. The only one I haven't outrun is the the Elftman. I forget what model it is. Elfman Pro or something like that. It's a red one. It's fucking great. It's a great trigger. But it's triggers don't actually help your accuracy, but they can make it the speed goes way up if you're good. So I hunt. I don't get to hunt as much anymore. Hunting takes a lot of time, and I don't actually have that much time to spend in any one specific compartmentalized hobby like that. But I do like to hunt, and I used to hunt but I wouldn't say it's target. I mean, I'm competing. I don't target. I don't actually practice that much. Outrunning it. So I had I don't have the picture, but I think I had 8 casings arced out, and I probably had a couple more. So I mean, I was like really, really hammering it. Which I can outrun my shotgun too if I really get into it. If I'm really really going fast, I can outrun my shotgun trigger. Actually, it's really easy to outrun my M2. The 1301 I almost cannot outrun. Yeah, dude, I hit standing offhand out to about 500 yards on the clock. Like not like sitting there taking all day and all that. I mean, just like run, like not out of breath, but having done exertion, run up, bam, one shot. I think it was 475 yards, one shot on the run, off the run, offhand, standing offhand. The RO, when I hit that, because I told him I was going to do it, and he's like, "Yeah, right, whatever." The RO with the timer he literally fell to his knees laughing his balls off. It was such a ridiculous thing to watch, but I did it, so it's fine. Basically, anything out to about 400, I can shoot standing offhand pretty well. Anything 200 and in, is like nothing to do standing offhand. And when I say, these aren't man size. I mean, these are like 10-inch plates or whatever. They're pretty small. So yeah. Hang on, guys. I gotta talk to my realtor just 1 second. I'm not gonna mute the mic because it doesn't matter. Hey man, I'm on my live stream, bro. I'll call you back in like 10 minutes. Yeah. I'll call you back in a few minutes. Yeah. Well, not 10 minutes, but it'll be a while. All right. Call you back. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make buy some property, and the guys are on fucking crack. So I got to get my realtor to talk them down off the ledge. I have a Keltec RDB. I've had a multiple Steyr AUGs. I really want to I actually love the Steyr AUG. I really want to love it enough to keep one. The problem is the fucking triggers suck. It's really weird to get an optic to work on them, and they're just not that accurate. And so I just don't, sorry, but check out the RDB. The RDB it's still not, it's very hard to have an accurate bullpup. It just is. But the trigger doesn't suck as much. It ejects the casings down instead of left or right. So especially when you're shooting suppressed, you don't get a big face full of gas. So when you're shooting suppressed and you're just like running and gunning through there, shooting an RDB, like I love to shoot my RDB suppressed. I mean, it's one of my favorite things. If they had a trigger, a drop-in trigger for it, it would be perfect. But dude, I'm wearing reading glasses. I use optics. So Henry's pretty cool, man. Yeah, the 9mm Rugers are nice. They are sweet. Overall goals for my real estate portfolio, I need to get back to where I have at least probably about $12,000 a month coming in at current value, right? So like if inflation goes up 10%, it's not 12,000, it's almost 14,000 or whatever that number is for it to be 10%. I need to be, I need to have property where I can have at least 10 to 12,000 a month coming in. Cause that's what and again, I've covered this many, many times. If you're going to, if you're going to buy real estate, you need to look at it not as a today thing, although it is, and it needs to be, but really down the road for so that if you had to stop tomorrow, right? And this is what I'm trying to, this is how I think about it. If you have to stop, like for you, right? I'm going to put your, so Melissa, if you tomorrow went in and had a stress induced breakdown at work, I'm not saying you would, but just saying if it happened, would you be able to live off of residual income if you couldn't work for 2 years? Right. Now, I'm not counting about any insurance or anything, nothing like that. I'm just talking about if you absolutely had to, if you had to come in, I mean, if you just woke up one day and you could not work for an extended period of time not without, I know it's possible. That's why I picked it. If something happened to where you just could not go to work tomorrow, could you survive without touching your savings? And that's how I look at this, right? That's why. So we were at about $12,000 to $15,000 a month income through real estate. We sold 2 properties. We bought 2 more, but the 2 that we bought, we don't actually rent. Those are more, it's an apartment in New Jersey for us to use when we're there, and it's a lake house here in Tennessee that we use for us. Now, this year we've rented the lake house out for the entirety of the summer until September, but we rented it at such a high rate that 6 months of rent will pay the entire year mortgage plus the property tax on the property. So that was a good plan. So, but now what I'm looking at is that I don't have right now. I have about $6,000 a month coming in real estate only. So I need to get another 6,000 in. I have to get that in. And you just have to, you have to set those numbers and just look at the numbers and see how am I going to get it. Right. And so for me, I need to buy. What I'm looking at right now is there's 10 acres of property that I can buy, and I can either build 2 really nice houses on 10 acres, or I could build probably 12 smaller houses on, quarter acre lots and with roads and driveways and everything. So, and that would be, first of all, it would be way more than rentals. I would be able to sell those and put a bunch of money in savings and buy more rental property. But the problem is they want double what the property is worth. That's why I just had my I was just talking to I had an appointment to talk to my realtor, because I need to understand what they think they have and what to actually offer them. Personally, they bought it. I want to say they bought it for 160. They're asking 320. I think they're high as fucking kites. There's no way in hell that the property they bought in 21 at the height of the market for 160 grand is worth 320 grand today when the entire market is cratering around them. So there's no way that's possible. So as near as I can tell, that property is worth maybe 10,000 an acre. It's probably worth closer to 8 or 9,000 per acre. So that would make it instead of 320,000 at 8,000 an acre times 10, that's 80 grand. If we go to 12,000 per acre, that's 120. All of that's, more palatable than what they're offering or what they're wanting. And I know that they're trying to do this is what they're trying to do is they're really trying to cash out their mortgage and any equity loans that they've taken out against it. So that's the problem. And I bet at one point in time it probably was worth like 300 because the market was crazy. But that's not the case today. Let's see. Let me go down the let's go down the list here. Let's see. Got a lot of stuff going on here. So that's my goal. My goal is to figure and I'll cover this in a minute. Yep, need to train and lots of cardio. I'm telling you, man, just come out and do it, man. You don't have you don't just come out and do one. You're in Alabama. You're near Huntsville. You are close enough to dead zero to make it. You should come do it this month. I'm actually going to go to Orsa as well, outside of Knoxville. Not 50. No, I don't do that. I can't shave my arms, bro. I can't do it. Basically live totally off real estate income. I want to be able to. I don't plan to, but I want to be able to, so that if any other investment I have, all right, so let's say that I do an index, I do a couple of annuities, I have a life insurance, I have layers upon layers of investments that in theory I can sit around on my balls and not do anything. But what happens if one of those layers craters? What if for the first time in 120 years, the index craters, and instead of making, 6 points a year, I'm losing 40 points a year. So my original investment is effectively, my profit is effectively wiped out, and we're cutting into my original investment. So I would never pull it out at that point. So if that happened, then I could not count on that. Right. So that's the thing. Right. So I don't know. But no, I don't want to, I want to be able to live off of my investment property. I don't want, but I don't want to have to. I'm not counting on. Yeah, quit smoking, man. Yep. Yeah, get some cardio in there. That's good. We're up to 15 now. We actually 20, I think, was we're up at 25 or something like that. Yeah, I know that it's possible. That's why I said that. Making you feel like a peasant. Dude, do some planning. It's just hard work and planning is 90% of it. They might be upside. I think they are upside down. I do think they are upside down. Good farmland. That's why I think it's worth about 10 grand an acre. If it was just like the typical Tennessee, and it could be, if it's a typical Tennessee hillside rocky land, it's not worth 10 grand an acre. It's not where it is. That's brokerage kind of. I do subscribe to that idea to some extent, but I don't. So again, I don't. I believe in all the eggs in several different baskets, right? Like I don't want to have one, not all the eggs in one basket. No, we put, we just, you have to have layers of, you have to build layers upon layers of income, because one of them is going to fail, and you may have several fail at one time. I mean, I can't predict the future, and I don't want to have to predict the future. Yeah, I could probably do something like that. Yeah, so the way that so for you, knowing what I know about your profession and what you do, if I were you, I would have already bought a very large, like probably a $2 million, I think it's a permanent life insurance policy. And I'd have to check. My wife knows more about that than I do. But I would have bought a life insurance policy with a payout, and I put 50 grand into it over 5 or 10 years. I don't think you can pay it all off in one lump deal where you can just go in and pay the 50 or 60 or whatever they ask for. It's got to be in stages. I would have probably already done a life insurance policy that's going to pay you out, $100,000 a year or something like that in your retirement. I would have probably also, just guessing at your income. I don't know your exact income, but just guessing at your income and your expense ratios, you're probably running about 40% expenses a month, about 60% income. So I would take 30% of that income and put it into an index fund of some kind, probably several. I would probably do an index fund. I'd do a money market account, and I would do an investment account, and I would make sure the investment account traded like, was like super conservative. So I'd probably do that, and I'd probably do about 30% for maybe a year or two, and then drop that down to maybe 5% or something. And then, that's interesting. That's interesting stuff. But I don't want to keep going. I don't know how boring this is getting to all of the listeners, but it's not just being extremely successful in business and life. Really successful business. Look, I know guys right now that cannot retire. Right, like they can't. Like most CEOs can't retire until they sell the company because they have so little compensation, and their bonuses are tied. They don't even get real bonuses. They get like more stock in the company, and so they're motivated to sell the company. But those are some poor bastards. Like they have enough. I mean, obviously they make a good living. They have expensive houses. They have expensive cars. All that kind of stuff. But they're not what you think they are until they sell that company. All right. So let me give you two sides of this coin, right? So here you have, let's just say you have a guy that makes, I don't know. All right, we're going to take upper. I'm going to use real numbers here. So you have someone that makes $400,000 a year base salary. Their bonus is equal to or greater than their salary. So typically their actual income is between $750,000 to $800,000 per year. That puts them in the top 1% already, right out of the gate. The bonus is not paid in cash. It's paid as a percentage of stock and cash. So, and it's taxed at 35%. So it sounds like somebody's getting a really good fucking deal, but that's not the case. You are instantly taxed at 35%, plus you max out your Social Security the minute that check goes through. So if you get a $500,000 bonus check, right? So you make $400,000 a year. I don't have another room. I don't know. If you have $5,000 bonus check coming in, of that $500,000 bonus check, what's going to hit your account is about 140 grand, maybe 180, depending on how your taxes are structured. So, again, most of it's a very large chunk of it is going to be stock, company stock, and the government gets their share right off the top, 35%, guaranteed, 100% every time. So when you are, and you can do that, and you can become a millionaire pretty easily. You can become a multimillionaire if you do some decent investing, and it's money up front, right? You can take the same person and go to a different job, make basically the same money, right? So you're making 400 grand a year, but you're only making maybe $150,000 a year as your performance bonus. But in the position you're in, let's call it, say CFO, or you're a COO, something like that. And as a company officer, you get 1% of the company when it sells. If you put in 3 years into that company, getting it ready to sell, trimming the fat, making it look good, working with the different banks, working with the buyers, making it look good, and making the deal happen, if that company sells, for $1 billion, you have 1%. You're walking home with $1 million. If it sells for $3 billion, you're walking home with $3 million. So it's a short-term payoff versus a long-term payoff, and most people don't have those options in their jobs. And the way that I'm trying to relate this to you is, it's the same thing with investing. There are short-term payoffs and there are long-term payoffs, and you have to balance what you want. You cannot look at things and say, this is going to make me a millionaire, because it's probably not going to. It's probably going to be a combination of things. It's probably going to be, you're probably going to end up, and a lot of people can't do real estate. I don't think that real estate is where it's at and everything you ought to do and all of that. Real estate, more people go broke trying to do real estate than any fucking thing else. Like I literally see more people just lose their ass. I haven't checked today, but I think 32%. I think something like 32% of mortgages right now are upside down. You know what that means? That means that they can't sell their house. Yeah. So it's something different. But yeah, so it's I kind of, sorry guys, I'm not trying to be like distracted. I just had some stuff going on. You have to take a measured approach. You have to I hate to use the word diversify, but that's in its proper instance here. You have to diversify. Arthrodia, I don't know, was I pretty close on what I was about, the numbers on what you're doing? You're running about probably what, about 40% expenses to income? 40% expenses, 60% left over. Is that about right? 75% of income. Okay. So are you saving that? Are you saving that in an account, or are you saving that in, are you buying like I bonds every year, maxing those out, running T bonds when they come up for sale? Or what are you, how are you saving that money? Yeah, I know that. I understand you live really cheaply. That's why I was guessing. Most people run the exact opposite. Most people run at about 80% expenses and 20% surplus, if that. Are you maxing out your you're maxing out, like you've got a Roth 401, you have other retirement accounts, you've just maxed everything out. You maxed all your contributions and everything. Retirement index. Yes, the index funds are great. I do think that you need to look into like all retirement stuff is maxed out, right? So, and that's typically where people kind of get stumped, right? They've retired, they've maxed out 401k, they got Roth, they've got a couple of different IRAs that they use. They're doing all the different tricks. Have you do you have like a portfolio with a so you need there are two different types of index accounts. I'm gonna have to think about it. One target date fund is really the best overall plan. Yeah, they're all just sitting there. Yeah, I mean, index funds are great. I mean, you're going to return. What's the return today? Like 6%? Is it 6% today? I haven't looked. I mean, at one point in time, I think the index was like 10 or 12%, which is crazy. It's crazy. I think the only thing that I would really say that for retirement purposes is you probably need to add an insurance plan to that. You need to it's just whatever type of life insurance. I forget. My wife would know. I forget what it is. It's just I think it's a permanent or something. I don't know. Whatever. My wife will know. But because I didn't handle the life insurance part of it. There are different annuities, I think, that people are trying to, especially right now, there are people trying to sell various annuities that are, in theory, outperforming the market. So and here's the thing: what you're realizing is that as much as you say that you can't save enough for retirement, and you need to make some investments. And this comes in where this comes into where you're how risk adverse you are, and how much you're willing to lose. So I okay, let me think on that a minute. So like again, I invested in small businesses, local businesses. I would invest in a medium size, I would invest in medium um business. Women are almost always too risk adverse. They're almost my wife certainly is. There's no way that she would invest in half the things that I've invested in that have most of them have paid off. Some of them have lost. I'll take an L every once in a while. I used to trade forex too, and the forex thing was crazy because I could make tons of money really fast, but I could lose it just as fast. And I can't even tell you how mad I got when I could be up like 50 grand in like 5 hours, 6 hours, and then I would, the market, the Japanese market would open, and then I'd be down like 3 grand, and I would be so pissed about that 3 grand, even though technically I was still 47 grand up, and I would just be so pissed about it. I don't know why. This is terrible. Right. No, this is right. This is accurate. And so that's why I'm saying that I would, the best suggestion I could give someone like you, without giving you any specifics, because I wouldn't do that. I don't know you well enough and all of that. I don't know. I don't want to be, I'm not going to give somebody direct investment advice. I think that's stupid, but I would really consider, like, hardcore. I would really consider a brokerage fund, which it sounds like you have. You're on an index fund. I would look into a brokerage fund. And there's a type of brokerage account that it doesn't pay quite as much, but you don't really lose. And the and then I would probably look into maybe a hedge fund that's that's doing pretty well. Um, there's all kinds of ways to invest. It's just your risk tolerance level and the amount that you're willing to lose. Um, so again, a lot of people, including me, say if you don't put any money in the market, if you can't light that on fire and watch it burn. I'll answer that. I was in Colorado for like 10 years. I got married in Colorado. I was in Colorado for a little over 10 years. So, are you from Colorado? But I'm not from Colorado. I'm from Tennessee. I just lived there for 10 years because I was out there initially working, and then I opened a shop there. Actually opened a couple of shops there. And the interesting thing is when I had the when I had the different some of the shops I owned, people didn't even know I owned them, because why would they? It's not there. Aurora. I actually had a house in Aurora. I lived, Buckley Air Force Base by the back gate. I lived off of Arkansas Avenue. Yeah, over there. But yeah. Yep, right by the back gate of Buckley Air Force Base. By the security area. So, yeah. So does arthrodia, does that help you at all? I mean, am I just like confusing you more, or am I giving you any clarity at all, and just stressing you out because you're thinking about, maybe having to invest money, and all stressed out? Okay. I'm glad I'm helping you out. You know, a lot of people find talking about money very boring um and uh and just kind of weird. But I think that, you know, for the most part, I think that if you can't talk about it, you'll never understand it. And if you don't understand it, you're probably gonna have a really bad time. So yeah. Absolutely. Anybody else? Everybody went kind of quiet there. Did everybody go get a snack or something? Somebody want to pick me up something from the kitchen? DeWalt versus Milwaukee versus Flex. I mean, is that even a question? I mean, Milwaukee, if I have to. I used to be a DeWalt guy, but they keep changing their fucking batteries every 3 years, and it pisses me right the hell off. And no, fuck Makita too. They changed their batteries too. You know, the one to be honest with you, I went from Snap-on to Milwaukee, and um, I had some DeWalt in there for a while, and I mean, I had a little bit of everything at one point in time. And you know, when I finally sold most of the shop and all that, I basically got. I'm gonna put this up there so I don't forget it. Basically, when I sold everything, I got rid of all the Snap-on and most of the Milwaukee, or some of the Milwaukee stuff got stolen. I've actually been just replacing it because I'm a homeowner now. I'm doing homeowner grade stuff, so I just buy the Ryobi stuff. And Metabo, no, that's how expensive. Why is Metabo like some of it's like really expensive and some of it's really cheap? Why is that? Does anybody have an answer for that? I do not know. I only hate DeWalt's perfectly fine, except they change their battery every 3 fucking years. I don't like that. I have to say, so I'm recommending very specific life insurance, and it's not for and you know, and actually Dave Ramsey has a really good video on this. I haven't actually watched all of it. I watched the key part, the key takeaway, I think. And what that is insurance. If you can't afford to just basically put money in the insurance and forget about it, like you would an investment fund and just not see it for 10 years, you should not do insurance. Insurance is not a good investment for poor people at all, or even middle class, even like the junior rich. It's not a good investment for you if you can't take that $3,000 a month or $2,000 a month, whatever it is, and just not see it for 5 years, 10 years. You should not buy insurance because it's too much of a stressor. It's just not really that good. It's not a good plan. But and it's not a hedge against inflation. I mean, to some degree it is, but it's not really a hedge against inflation. They'll tell you that it is. Agents will tell you that it is, but the reality is it's not. And I think that the thing that you have to realize when we're talking about insurance is insurance. What we're really talking about is you're basically, putting money into this policy. It's not taxable money. You can then there are some different vehicles that you can use, and by vehicles I mean financial strategies to put money in and take money out of that policy over time without paying tax penalties and that sort of thing. That makes it really good for people who just need a short-term loan to themselves. And when you do get to retirement age, you can either draw on it or not, and it just sits there and it's just there. So, and you're talking, the last I looked, and don't quote me on these numbers, I can be wrong. I think a $2 million policy was something like 50 grand, 60 grand paid over, it's paid over a while. I mean, it's like $2,000 a month, but you that's a pretty good plan, I think. So, how do I get investors for my software project? You're not VP or VF? Are you in Vampire Frog? Are you in the U.S. or I think aren't you in a foreign country? We'll come back to that. John, retirement target year mutual fund. Retirement target your mutual fund. They are set up a specific area. Yep. All that's right. DeWalt is okay. Milwaukee is amazing, but Flex been coming out with crazy stuff lately. Their Jigsaw makes plug-in circulation look makes a plug-in circulation look slow. Wow, that's cool. Roby, currently getting my life insurance license. Yeah, good. Do that. You're in Romania, and so depending on what kind of project it is, if you're in Romania, it could be tough, man. It could be really tough. So here you would just go pitch it. There are a bunch of angel investors out here that love software, and you could fly out to LA or not LA, San Francisco, go down to Palo Alto, and you could literally probably have lunch with the guys at Facebook. They might put money into it, but there's a lot of angel investors here for software. If you build it up yourself and build it into a good company, I know people who can sell the company for you, but I don't know. That's a great question for somebody that's not me. Currently getting your life insurance license. Yes, do that. That's not a bad plan. Just keep in mind to be honest with people, and because a lot of people don't actually read anything, but they do listen to Dave Ramsey. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know anything about Romania or Romania investment law or anything like that. I'm just not. I just don't know. You got me, bro. I got no answer on that. I wish I did. That'd be cool to be able to advise people in Romania. Dayman, good afternoon from Georgia. It's my neighbor to the south. Tool and gun. So, why is a lot of the Metabo stuff really expensive, and some of it is like dirt cheap crap? Is it like two companies in one, or what's the story there? I really want to know. Yeah, dude, take meetings with people that are in the business, right? Like, go to look around for an angel investor, look around for somebody that's going to put money together. I do have a contact that does overseas investing of software companies, and they specifically do software. Let me I'll talk to some people. I don't know now most of what they're doing is in China or Korea, Japan, but maybe Romania might be there. They may need to expand over, and they are they're an investment fund run by somebody I know. So, yeah. Romania does make great AKs, although as Andrew told me, Poland makes the best. So, yeah, man. Look, if I can help you, I will. But I don't know the laws. I'm not the guy to do that. I think one of the most important things about anybody, one of the most important things that anybody can say is they just don't fucking know, right? And a lot of people just can't say that, and I just don't fucking know. But I do now that you make me think about it. I know somebody in the software and tech sector that runs an investment fund that is always looking for they're always looking for the next thing that's going to make, they're always looking for the next Facebook. So, again, they normally deal mostly, I think, in China and Japan, Korea, and then, other foreign countries like California, and they mostly are involved in those. But I'll talk to them. Just without disclosing any like technical stuff or proprietary stuff, what kind of software is it? Is it like a search engine? Is it SEO? Is it back end financial stuff? What are you doing? What do you got going on? Well, I'm waiting on him. Arthur Odea, I'm assuming that you've headed back to work after your lunch. I'm assuming your lunch is over. Hope you were able to be helped out today. I don't normally do do a lot of financial stuff during the day shift, but hey, man, if people want to listen to it, a restreaming and stream widget service. So you're going to go up against Streamlabs and all of those guys. Is that what that's what you're looking to do? Because Streamlabs, and some of the others are pretty solid. I don't know where the gritter comes from, but good seeing you. Hope everything's going good for you. Hopefully you got hopefully you're working today. You go do your drive test. You good to go. You get your paperwork done. Go do your piss test and all that. Pull it. Oh, you're back. Okay. Was any of that helpful to you? Any of that like 20 minutes of rambling discourse and basic financial procedure? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, go back to work. It is the day shift. We are all working on the day shift. I'm not. I'm your host. This is as close as I'm going to get to work today. Well, actually, maybe not. So we had like horrendous weather yesterday. It was terrible. I can't even tell you how lucky I am, because I woke up yesterday and it was sunny out, and I'm like, I didn't actually believe that it was going to storm. So I was about to pull my airplane out so I could do the final shrink on the fabric and get it ready for painting the first part of the week, because we're supposed to have good weather, like 3 or 4 days of good weather. And I'm like, I'm gonna paint my airplane. I was this close to pulling it out yesterday. I got distracted. I had to go meet people and sign a lease and blah blah blah, all this stuff. I left it in my garage. And then, dude, it fucking rained like a I don't know, man. It was like 10 inches of rain we've had in the past like 13 or 14 hours. And the Cumberland River is like 12 feet over its banks. I mean, it's crazy. Let's see. We got old man money prattle. Yeah, all right. Good. Beats woman prattle. Yeah. I mean, at least I'm trying to be useful. Waiting on my whiz quiz. That's right. Whiz quiz email. That's funny. I like that. I'm gonna use that later. It's pissing down rain, so no test drive. Okay, we'll work orientation. Yeah, all right. Yep, that's what happens, man. That's what happens. But hey, man, at least you got the gig, right? Like, you're gonna be gainfully employed. Wife's gonna be proud of you, which is important. And you're gonna have you got your shit together. That's good. That's real good. That's a way to do it right there. That's nothing but win. Nothing but win. So you guys out there working, making the country great. That's what's up. And and the ladies, like Arthur Daya, she's a anesthesiologist, which is a doctor, not a nurse, that puts you under for surgery and whatnot. And it's pretty big. It's a pretty important job. Pretty good. Yeah, to go ahead and stream elements, StreamYard, or figure out something else. I have a bunch of ideas. If you could if you could work with Streamlabs to make it easier to use their system and their back-end monetization system, where you're able to take donations through their software, if you could make that work, that'd be fucking tits, man. Because I'm this close to having StreamYards working, or Streamlabs working with StreamYards, so that I stream through StreamYard or into StreamYard, and everything goes through Streamlabs, and then you guys can donate money, but it's not happening. It's just, I just don't have it 100% yet, and it's just because I'm an old man and I don't understand all of the intricacies. Yeah, Also, having a Chip and Flint, having an honest job is always a win. John's giving you props there, as he should. Main target was Alt Media, who needs to have some facilities and resiliencies when going live on multiple platforms. Right, absolutely. It would be really good if you could, and I don't know how you would do it because YouTube knocks you down if you're using a streaming service and streaming to multiple platforms. YouTube actually has some way of knowing that, and they kind of knock you down in the algorithm. So, you know, that's something I'm fighting against now. Not bad for an incel grid one. Yeah, ridiculous cuttlefish and the things they say. That's right, man. That's good. Integrated Streamlabs notifications, my gift widget thing, along with that's awesome, dude. That's really cool. I need that's the kind of thing that people need, honestly. If you could, if and I know that Andrew's worked out one, and I'm actually going to try it. His Dono chat. I think that probably will be something that works out well for me. But if you can get something to where creators can more easily manage, taking donations and just basically, the various forms of money, it's like a huge deal, man. Like, I didn't actually realize it was that big a deal until I tried. Then I've been trying to set it up, and it's knocking my dick in the dirt, dude. It's just and I'm like, why the fuck won't this work? So, and you got all of this nonsense, like, you got OBS chat that everybody wants to use. Everybody wants to use OBS because it's free, and I don't know. I'm like, fucking, I'll just use Streamlabs. Let's see. I've been trying to do, yeah. I want, I'm gonna do donate chat. So I used to trade Forex, which isn't really futures, it's currency. I am prohibited currently from owning any stock or trading in stock or advising on stocks because of what my wife does. It carries with it a fairly hefty fine if I do something stupid, like make actual recommendations. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I have no interest in prison, bro. I'm not a prison bro. Dick in the dirt. Yeah, I say that all the time. Yeah, it knocks my dick in the dirt. Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah. Yeah. It's always good when a man gets a real job, right? Like, or even just a job, period. But especially when they get when they get something that's life-changing career. It's like a 30%. I believe it is. And it's not, so it's 30% off the top for YouTube. Then YouTube reports it as earnings. So then, if you make above a certain amount, you're getting, you're paying like actual income tax on that. So, make of that what you will. A lot of guys, the way they have it set up is donations. In theory, people are donating it to you. I'm not really sure how they're trying to show that on their income. I suspect that people are trying to game the system a little bit and count it as charitable donations and not have to pay taxes on it, or not pay as much taxes on it. And I think that they're probably going to get their dicks knocked in the dirt when the IRS is tired of their nonsense. So, that's how that goes. Yep. So it's been good conversation today. I had not intended really going down a lot of these paths. I don't mind getting pulled pulled off topic. So I only got a little bit of feedback on Kat earlier, but I do think that she is a valuable asset to the program. So I think you'll see her more. I think I'm still looking for guests. I think we're going to. I'm actually going to talk to a couple of my guys from competitive shooting. I'm going to try and get them on board and see if see what their plans are, or see if they're interested in coming on. I also know I don't know. Some of you guys probably heard this because you listen regularly. I know an Olympian who has a twin sister, Lanny Barnes, and I'm going to try and get her on. She's a biathlete, which means she does the skiing and shooting, and now she's a competitive shooter. I think she won the women's open shotgun division at the IPSC World Shoot, which is fucking amazing. And I'm going to try and get her on. Matter of fact, I need to send her an email today, and we'll, so I'm trying to get some different types of guests on to have discussions with, and you guys can ask questions. Jess Cat is great. Jess, did you hear me? Did you hear me belt out a few bars last night? Did you actually hear me? I almost sang there, which I don't. But yeah. Overall, yeah, 50 days plus, Mr. It's interesting. Is it not interesting how just a few days can just ruin your fucking life, and you can't even you can't even deal with it. And it's only like 3 days, right? Like, or 10 days or 20 days or 30 days. And it's like, and I used to have this thing when I was younger, because a lot of times I'd have, I was like, it's going to be, so many days before I have money coming in. It's going to be so many days before I have this or whatever, this or that, the other thing happening, and whatever. And especially when I had an assignment where it was, where I would take a mercenary gig where it was like, I'm going to be, with this race team for 2 or 3 weeks. And by the end of the first week, I already hate, the team owner or the team manager or somebody like that. And they're already like cramping my style. And, there's a reason that people hired me. The reason people hired me is not because I look good or I look good on camera or any of that shit. The reason they hired me is because I can make the car go fast. And I really, they especially didn't hire me because I took orders. I don't. And then we would have, I would constantly butted heads with team owners, and I would just tell them, I'm like, you're not paying me to be a fucking idiot. You're paying me to be top shelf. I'm the guy. You hired me because I'm not a guy. I'm the guy. And it always amazed people when I would talk to people like that. And I'm like, look, I can do anything for 30 days. For 30 days, I could eat bad food, get very little sleep, be out in the weather. I can do anything for 30 days. Fuck it. I can do it. No problem. You want me to get up, 1 o'clock in the morning and run till 3 o'clock and then go back to sleep and get back up at 6 or 7 in the morning? Fuck it. We'll do that. But like I said, I used to get hired by all these teams, and they just, they're paying me a lot of money to be there, and then they wouldn't listen to my fucking advice. And I would have to just endure that shit for a month or 2 months or whatever. And I mean, like, stuff like really bad. Like when I worked with a team owner, he's passed now, which I feel kind of bad about throwing him under the bus, but he deserves it in this case. He had this thing about the cheapest fucking hotels on the planet. And so even if he reserved like non-smoking rooms because none of us smoked, we would get these rooms that were just fucking terrible, man. And you're out on the road, you're tired, you're working all fucking hours, getting these, keeping cars running, keeping drivers happy, you're running all over the place. Half time shit doesn't work. You got to, make shit work. And you come back at the end, you get to the track at like the typical day was like get to the track at 5 o'clock. If you left the track by 10 p.m., that was like a fucking great day. That was fucking awesome. And it was terrible. And so you would go back to this hotel room and it would either smell like smoke or mildew or what. This team owner just had like it was like if he would like basically do anything to save like $2, which is just fucked up. I just couldn't do it. And that was just one thing, right? Like he I'm not going to go into all the things, but you would have terrible team owners, terrible team managers. You have team managers that just, treated you like you were the tire guy, or, the guy that went to get fuel or some shit like that. Like they were treating a guy that, was making probably more than he was per day. He was treating me like I was the guy they paid, $5 an hour or $10 an hour to run and get fuel and shit. And I would just be like, fuck all you guys. And I would tell them too. I'm like, look, I'm the guy. If you want the car to go fast, you want to win, get the fuck out of my way and let me do my job. If you don't, I know where the fucking door is. I will fucking leave. And that's really arrogant to some degree, but the problem was I was right. And it was accurate assessment. And I didn't give a shit. I would leave. But I can do anything for 30 or 40 or 50 days. So like, when people talk about how hard such and such training is, or how hard, they tap out, I can do anything for it. Well, not now. Now I'm old and fat. Once I get back into shape, I can do anything for 30 days. I don't care how bad it is. Why would you keep watching, bro? What is wrong? What is wrong with you? Why would you watch that? I'd be like, click. I should get some people to design some t-shirts. That'd be fucking funny. Yeah, you can't let yourself get pushed around, especially if they're paying you. If they're paying you, and especially if they're paying you a lot. If someone brings you in as the expert or to do a specific job, they shouldn't. If they're trying to tell you how to do the job, they're a bad manager. Although I also had the expression in my shop that if I had to do it, I didn't need you. So you needed to know your job. Like if I had to step in and do your job, you were not going to last very long. Magnetic personality. Romania must be an interesting place, full of interesting people. But yeah. The less agreeable. What line are you in, Max? What do you do? What do you do for work? But I have found that the less crap that I took, the more people listen to me when I said something. And I wasn't being 100% disagreeable all the time. And I was very, very good at my job. And, and it meant lap time. Like to have me show up meant lap time on your car generally. And there were other guys that were just as good as me that could do just as good a job as me, but they charged more than me. They charged the same as me and they were booked. So, consultant in the software when I learned this. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you're any kind of consultant, like that's basically you could consider what I was doing as a mercenary race guy. You could, anytime you're considered a consultant, the more you get pushed around, the less effective people think you are, and the less they think they need you around. And one of the things is that I made sure they knew that they needed me. Like the very first time we would go out, I would tell them not to touch the car, don't do anything to it, and I would not send ahead notes. I wouldn't have them prep the car the way that I felt like it should be. We would go out and we would run that car as they had it. And then I would change it. And when they saw the difference in lap time, they never had a problem writing the check. They never had a problem writing the check. And that, but you can't do that if you're not that good. If you're not good at your job, if you're not capable of being that guy, you're not that guy. So you're another guy. You're another type of guy. You're still valuable, but you're not that guy. And when I am that guy, you're going to listen to what I say. But I still have that mentality now. Yeah. And that is exactly, you're getting it's merit-based pay. Really. What we're talking about is merit-based pay, performance-based pay. When I'm good, like when I wasn't very good, I went to work for a race team. I learned my craft. I refined my art. I became better and better and better and better and better. And then once I had it down, when I had it on lock, when I had learned from the masters, the best in the industry that I could get close to. I had read everything. I had tested things. I had spent my own time and money to do all of these things, and I knew what I was doing. That's when I went out on my own and people paid me top shelf money to have me coming out there, right? And that's why I was able to do that. And I had, dude, my contract was ridiculous. Actually, my contract was probably more ridiculous than many people's, even though I had the lowest per day rate. Per day was an 8-hour period. So if I got to the track at 6 in the morning and I didn't leave until 6 the next morning because we're unfucking your fucked up car, that's 3 days you owe me, pal. Like that's not $500. That's not one day. That's 3 days. Every 8-hour period is a day. And so, you know, and the thing is that because I was effective, even when the car blew up, melted to the ground, they would still write me my check. Well, first of all, they were contractually obligated to, and I would sue the fuck out of them if they didn't. But also because it was clear to see that what I had done to their car helped, and there was no denying that I had been there. And the same thing would be true if I was a computer science guy or a computer security guy and I came in and I fixed your system and, you know, I charged you X amount. If you're that good, you get to charge that amount because you're that good, and it's merit and performance based. And I 100% believe in that. Yeah, merit based as society should be. Absolutely, that should exactly be that way. But it's generally it wasn't that they were being an asshole. Most teams were not being an asshole to me. They just, a lot of times the crew guys really resented me to start with because I'm not the guy, you know, I'm not their normal person. The team, you know, usually the car chief, if they had one, or crew chief, depending on how they were organized, you know, the guy that was in charge generally was pissed that the team owner or the drivers had insisted that I come in and be involved, and they didn't like that. Nobody likes that. I wouldn't like that. If I was the guy in charge of a car and somebody brought in a specialist without, even if they asked me about it, I would be a little miffed about it, right? I would not be very cooperative. But once these guys saw that I wasn't full of shit and I knew what I was doing, and, you know, shit got done, all that stuff went away, because at the end of the day, racing is all performance based, and you are going to you're going to have issues, right? And if you can't fix them, it's going to show up really fast. So once they know that you're good, all of that other shit melts away. It's one of the few industries where I found that happens. Most of the time, even if you are fucking awesome at your job, but people don't like you because they feel like that, you know, like you're an efficiency expert that came in to evaluate, make some changes. And so you move some things around, maybe you fire a couple of people. The people that, you know, the actual managers or shift leaders or whatever, those people are always going to resent you. They just are. And I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. Yesterday, I increased my company's top line revenue by 10% in a single day. My next bonus should be great. Fucking A, Max. Fucking A. Good damn job. Good damn job. I do not shave my arms, and I'm not going to shave my arms. And if you shave your arms, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And nobody else does. They don't want to know. All right. Good afternoon, y'all. Hope y'all having a good day. Let's start off with a good joke. I can always tell when I see a real woman just by what they wear. Biological women don't wear condoms. That's funny. That is very fun. I'm going to go hang out on Discord. Thanks for the stream, Grid. Yeah, we're about to wrap up. I wrap up at 3, so we've got like 6-7 minutes before we wrap. Good having you in the chat today, man. You know, always a good time, and it's a good deal. Old Joe, welcome back. And have a Vampire Frog, have a good rest of your day, man. Make yourself indispensable, specialize in the areas no one else will, become the go-to guy. That is one way. The other way is just be really damn good at your job. Like, be the best guy there. Now, sometimes that doesn't help, right? Because if you're the best, you're usually the most expensive. And if you're the best in a very common job where it's easy to be the best, or there's a lot of people that are the best, you can't make those huge demands, but if you make those decisions to be the best and you are demonstrably consistently the best, it's gonna shake out. And I think that holds true in every industry. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I don't think I'm wrong in that case. And if you look at it, look at Andrew, right? Like Andrew is working super hard to become the best podcast debater, discussion, interview guy that he possibly can be. Is he the biggest? No, he's not. Not yet. But he's the fastest growing. He's reaching, people that other people are not reaching. And even when he pisses people off, they still want to listen to him because they know he's right. They know that he's the best in his sphere. And so if and that's I think part of the difference, right? Like he is he works hard it looks to me like, everything I can tell, Andrew works hard every day to do that. And you take Brian in his sphere, right? Like he is the number one. Like Fresh and Fit, probably because they stream the different platforms and stuff, they've been around a little longer. Okay, arguably they have better numbers. I think Brian's the best in the sphere of the dating panel podcast genre. And he works so fucking hard at it. Like that dude never takes a day off that I can tell. Like he, the only thing he does is like swim in his pool. I think he is dating somebody now though. So, maybe that'll help him chill out a little bit. But, that dude's just fucking on it. He's hungry, so, and, it's a good time, be hungry, be willing to learn things. Yeah, absolutely. Do that. Be a jump how high guy. That's right. And do we use the term company man anymore? Do we even use that? Do we use that term anymore? Company man, because we should. Because I always considered myself a company man. When I worked for a company, I worked for that company. If I worked for a team, I worked for that team. If I worked for a shop, I worked for that shop. I wasn't always looking. I wasn't talking to every other team in the paddock, looking, shopping my next job ahead of time and all that kind of stuff. I think that we need to bring back the idea of company men, and maybe on Monday's Day Shift podcast, I will I'll put together a sermon on it, and I'll preach, brother. I will preach. Yes, they absolutely did that. I think it is, but it shouldn't be. You should be a company man. You should be, if somebody's paying you to do a job, you need to be at least reasonably loyal to that company, right? Like, and now I have you guys? Oh man, I'm going to run over. Have you guys noticed on like TikTok and Reels and all these other short format, all of these animated management be like, and in it some ridiculous bullshit like, hey, I called you at 8:00 last night. Why didn't you answer? And the employees very smart assly says, well, I'm only paid between 8 and 5. I turn my phone off after 5. Okay. For an hourly employee, that works. If you're a salary employee, that doesn't work, and I'd fucking fire you. Even if it's an hourly employee, it should be known that if I have to call an employee after hours, it's fucking important. You should pick that phone call up. If you don't, in the back of my mind, as an owner, as a manager, as a supervisor, I don't care which position I have. If I call and you don't pick up, even just tell me go fuck myself, in my brain, you are not a company man, and I will, and that will hurt your chances for advancement. That's going to help. And when it comes time for your quarterly review or annual review, and I'm looking at your salary history, and I'm thinking, I called this fucker 3 times because I need, because I was looking for anybody to run by the shop to see if it was flooded, or I was out of town and the burglar alarm went off or something like that, and I needed someone to come in clutch for me, and this guy didn't, because he's on his time. Hey, that's totally fair. But that means that at bonus time, I take everything into account, and you're probably not going to get the big piece of chicken. Probably going to get the the short end of that fucking stick. Tribal knowledge. Yeah, I know you can't say that. Yeah, they kind of shit all over the countryman term and kill it. Yeah, they do. Be a Hank Hill. You know what, Robbie? You're right. Not if you're exempt. Yeah. Let's see. What else we got? Let's see. Can't say tribal knowledge anymore. That's right. Did you guys have to deal with restrictor plates? No, I never did. I never ran a carbureted series. I always ran fuel injected series. We did have, we had throttle plates, but we didn't have restrictor plates per se. And there are ways around those. I can't get into it. I don't want to out anybody. So, but there are ways around the intake restrictors for sure. And we knew all of them. And they eventually, they legislated them out eventually. I never really had to deal with restrictor plates on carburetors. Just the throttle plate restrictors or inlet side and inlet bore restrictors. And there were ways around that. They actually wrote some rules because of stuff that the people I was associated did, which I take as a point of pride. Actually, they wrote an entire section of the rule book because of me once. Yes, sir. I completely agree. Never bite the hand that feeds you, meaning never embarrass or shame the company it put the yeah, right. That's right. Roman's got it. That everybody listen to Roman. Roman's got it. Yeah. 102 outside. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know where you are, but it's not there. Yeah. Yeah. I like what Roman said there. Roman's accurate. That's a very accurate thing to say. So guys, I gotta wrap it up, man. It's 3:00. That's the scheduled quit time. I do not put a scheduled quit time in on the evening shows, but I do have to put one on the daytime shows. So you guys have a great rest of your day. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know that it's midday and everything, but I really enjoy doing the day shift programs and interacting with you guys and being able. This all came about because Kevin Landers wanted to be able to listen while he worked and talk shit in the chat at the same time. So thank Kevin Landers for this program coming about. And we'll be back on Monday, and we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about. Tomorrow night we will be on at 8:05 Central Daylight Time, and I hope to see everybody here. And absolutely tell a buddy, bring a friend, and bring them even if they don't want to come. You just tell them that they got no choice. Saddle up, and we're riding. Bring them in. Got to get my numbers up, and plus. I think it's fucking funny. Until next time, I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. You got to go somewhere else and get off my lawn. We'll see you.